God is not a man sitting on a cloud. God cannot be bought. God will not be boxed in. God will not be owned by religion. But God is love, and God is love, and He loves everyone. God is love, and God is love, and she loves everyone. God is not a man. God is not an old man. God does not belong to Republicans. God is not a flag, not even American. God does not depend on the government. God is good, and God is good, and He loves everyone. God is good, God is good, she loves everyone. Atheists and charlatans and communists and lesbians and even old Pat Robertson, oh God, He loves us all. Catholic or Protestant, terrorist or president, everybody love, 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 yeah, God is love, and God is love, and He loves everyone.
Thank you, June.
Very nice.
And Brooks and Freddie also, thank you guys too. Welcome to Collective's 5 p.m. liturgy. I am Ben, I'm the pastor of the church. I'll be the host for the service tonight locally in beautiful, hotter and hotter every week, downtown DeLand, Florida, globally at wearecollectivechurch.com, where you can subscribe and stay connected to the congregation. We are gathering safely in person. This is our last night with our current mask policy. Look for an updated mask policy for when we gather in 2 weeks. We won't be here in the room next week. You'll hear about that in a second. But when we gather again in 2 weeks, we'll have a new mask policy. So stand by for that. For now, wear a mask if you're in the room. That'd be awesome, especially with all the kids here, unless you're up here. We're live streaming, but we respect your privacy. So if you don't want to be on camera, you want to be over there. So currently, everybody could potentially be on camera at some point. In person and online, live now or later on, whenever, wherever your presence makes us who we are. Liturgy means the work of the people. It's not my work. It's not the work of the people who are on the platform. It is our work together to form our spiritual community. Here to help us do that work tonight are our liturgists. Kenny is our online liturgist in the room, so if you're online, give him a shout out and let him know that you're with us. Let us know that you're with us, and you can participate in the service by chatting online. So get on Facebook. Hey, Sam Joseph, how's it going, man? So jump on the chat. You can tell him that you're here, and you can participate in what we're talking about tonight. We also have, actually, I'm going to have Ashley Hahn jump up on the couch here and get mic'd up. She's going to be here with us tonight, as well as Jess Garrett. Really glad that you guys are here. Ashley, you can just get up there and clip it on. You're good to go. Oh, you guys got it figured out. Our artist in residence, Fred Wilson, is back with us after a week away. Glad to have you back with us, Fred.
Glad to be back.
Yeah. We're pretty sweet on you, so we have some cards that we made for you last week to tell you that we love you and we appreciate you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Well, I mean, I'm talking to all you guys. I'm sweet on all of you. But yeah, we have some cards.
I love you guys too. Thank you.
Yeah, we have some cards for you. We love you too. And Brooks is here. Did you say you've got some new podcast stuff coming out?
Yeah, so I am part of the team for what's called the Inner Guru School.
Okay.
And we have a podcast. We have 2 episodes out now, and I'm about to put up another one. Our first series that we're doing is on trust.
Cool.
So it's all kinds of angles on trust.
Cool.
And also working on a new one with Bushi.
Very cool. Awesome, Sensei Bushi. Where would they go if they wanted to find out about this Inner Guru
just
School?
search Inner Guru School on Spotify,
cool,
or Google, or wherever.
Cool. I want to say we'll put it in the show notes, but I don't know what those are, and I don't think that we have them. So
cool.
You can look that up with just a normal web browser if you want to do that. Freddie, talk to me about the celebration that's coming up in a few weeks for the kind of the commitments that we won for affordable housing at the Action Assembly. When is that?
That is on June 8th. It is going to be a virtual celebration again. So on June 8th, you can go to the Faith, or probably before then, you can go to faithfallujah.org and click on the button that will say Enter Celebration, and it will link you to the Zoom. And we'll be gathering to celebrate our organization, specifically the commitments that we won this year around housing and youth criminal justice.
Yeah, and that's we've sort of won commitments from these officials, but they're also, we then spend the rest of the year putting pressure
yes.
On people to keep to those commitments, and we're doing that really fun and rewarding work right now, but you should definitely celebrate with us because we really made some progress, and I think we're still making some really exciting progress. So we've got all our liturgists. Let's give them a hand real quick. Thank you guys. We're glad that you all are with us. The point is we all are Collective Church. So you all make us who we are and are a part of this conversation. Ashley, would you remind us what that means for us with the community statement?
I sure can. We value highly the metaphor of journey. We're different people from different places and backgrounds, representing an intergenerational community, and we've traveled different paths. So we agree not to make assumptions about the person across from us, next to us, or in conversation with us. We challenge ourselves to be sensitive, knowing this community includes a diverse group of people, from lifelong followers of Jesus to the people who are just now open to the idea that God might exist. We strive to avoid offense, we ask good questions, we articulate and explain our responses. We do not assume fluency in Bible, spirituality, or church language, because we believe in the message of Jesus is not for Christianity, but for humanity. So we do everything in the spirit of love and grace.
Thank you. We are Collective Church. Now you can join us as we sing that. And I want to make sure, since we've got some kids in the room, I know that Huck and Sam can sing this. We want to make sure that you guys get in on the ooze. And I want to point out that we're really tuning up now, where these are like the finer points of production. But we added the ooh slides this week. So
Yes.
if you don't sing it now, that's on you because we do have the technology. So you guys have to sing the oohs, fair, right? Let's make them sing it.
Travel different paths. We're beautiful people with messy pasts, so have no fear. No judgment here. Whether you believe in Jesus or don't believe in anything, there's something you can teach us. You belong. No right, no wrong. Leading into grace. Help us make a place with an open table where no one's turned away. Well, love without why no one has to hide. Finding God in people, sharing hearts as equals, where you are held in light. The good news is on your side. Oh, oh, oh. Life is full of mystery, and solidarity helps us to find some peace in the great unknown. You don't have to be alone, no. Leading into grace. Help us make a place with an open table where no one's turned away. Well, love without why, and no one has to hide. Finding God in people, sharing hearts as equals, where you are held in light. Good news is on your side.
We are Collective Church. We, us in the room, and we, everybody look up at the camera up there above the liturgist. We, everybody online. Kenny, talk to us about who is with us online tonight.
We've got Karen and Lewis watching along, as well as Dottie, and then some anonymous eyes watching.
Awesome, very cool. Anonymous eyes, that's creepy like Collective. Awesome.
Yeah.
So if you're the anonymous eyes, welcome. Also, Karen and Lewis and Dottie, really glad that you guys are with us as well. Thanks, Kenny. We really are glad that the online community is able to join us and able to be present with us in that way. So we sang this line, "No one has to hide." Ashley is the owner with her partner Kara of CrossFit Nika. Hey, June. You have an announcement? Are you just trying to signal to me? Hi, it's super good to see you too. So Ashley and Kara, CrossFit Nika, and they've got an event coming up called Out WOD, and WOD means workout of the day if you're not into the CrossFit lingo. I learned that when I did it like 5 times and then quit. Workout of the day, so Out WOD is like, as in no one has to hide, WOD. Right? So Ashley, tell us a little bit about Out WOD and sort of out athletics in general, and is there a way that we can kind of support it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So Nika was developed as a business who just happened to be a place very much like this where everyone is welcome. Kara and I opened it so that everyone had a place to be exactly who they wanted to be. And so a coach of ours came to us and said, hey, there's this great organization called Out Athletics, and their mission is the same as Nika's. And so they help us put together a workout each year, and we have people come and do it. Let me just tell you, it's 1,000% scalable. If you haven't worked out in 10 years, it's totally fine. And so the reason that we're doing this is so we can help support those that feel like maybe this environment isn't for them. And we collect donations, so at the end, we give away a membership, or Out Athletics does, to someone in the LGBT community, and it pays for their membership for the entire year. So it's a really cool organization. We're super excited to be hosting it, and yeah, we hope you guys can come out and join us for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So check that out if you want more details. Obviously, you can talk to Ashley, Kara. You can check out the NICA website, I'm sure, if you want to support that. Thanks a bunch, Ashley. Ella, why don't you come on up? We also have a special treat tonight, leading collective Mindful Kids programming this evening, and then also coming back to lead yoga tomorrow night. Go ahead and have a seat. Welcome. Please give a warm collective welcome to Ella Shepherd. All right. Let me see. I scrolled through my slides on accident when I was clapping, which is the best. So Ella, if you don't know Ella's the daughter of Barb and Jeff Shepherd, downtown DeLand royalty from the Beacon to Artisan Alley, and Ella's about to get married. Congratulations. You recently were licensed. Man, June is the hype man tonight. June is like leading the claps. Anything she's about, she's like, let's do it.
Enthusiasm all the way, June.
And you were recently licensed as a mental health counselor, is that right?
Right.
Awesome,
Correct.
very cool.
Yeah.
And you are moving back to DeLand this very summer to practice in ways that are really not different from the things that Collective dreams about. They definitely come at it from a specific angle, a therapeutic angle. But just tell us what you told me just about working with kids and feelings. That was so...
Sure.
Yeah.
So I am a licensed mental health counselor, and I am certified in play therapy. So what I do with children is I speak to them in their language. Their language is play. So what we're doing in a therapeutic way is really just like games, activities. The kids aren't totally aware maybe that it's therapeutic, but we are definitely learning about emotional regulation. I'm helping them learn to identify where they feel the feelings in their physical body. We do a little bit of anatomy, a little bit of biofeedback, like where's your pulse, how's your heartbeat, your breath. So I definitely incorporate I'm also a yoga teacher, and so I incorporate yoga teaching skills into the therapy space. So we use our breath, we do some restorative poses, we do some energy up poses, because we got to get our energy out too. So hopefully some of the kids will join me tonight and get a little taste of some mindfulness and some fun, and so nice to meet you all. Yeah.
What immediately, if you guys, I assume you guys are like me, because you're here, and this is sort of a reflection of me. You're immediately like, why are we not doing that? Like, why are the kids going to do that? Why isn't she leading us and learning how to do that? So if you could do that with kids, hopefully maybe adults can learn to do that also. We often say around here, your spiritual life is your life, that we're not trying to indoctrinate religious believers, but we're trying to nurture holistic beings. And we sort of joked last week, this is not religious truth, just the regular kind. Feelings are hard. And after the last season we've all been through, we can probably acknowledge feelings are like some of the hardest things that we deal with. And sure, they're good. I mean, don't get me wrong, feelings are amazing. But shouldn't our spiritual practice, and then shouldn't especially for our kids, include some practical tools to deal with feelings and to learn how to live with our feelings? So in just a second, because these guys are going absolutely bonkers, hey, I have a task for you, Sam, Joseph. It's me over here. Could you three do me a big favor and take all those little garbage pieces that you have and take them over to the sound booth in the back corner and wait patiently for like 10 seconds, and Ella will be over there in just a second? No, wait over there, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Litigious, right?
Yeah.
Kieran, are you going back with them to Mindful Kids? Over there, guys. Okay, so feelings are hard. Directions are also hard, to be fair. Directions are tough. Ella, anything you want to add just about yoga tomorrow night? It'd be your first time leading our kind of yoga group, and I know a handful of you guys have been, so anything you want to add to that?
Definitely. Yoga is for everybody, and everything like, Ashley, like you said, it's scalable, and so I offer modifications. You can literally do probably the whole class in a chair if that's what's best for you and your body and your knees and your joints. It'll be relaxing, restorative. It'll be great. I hope to see you there.
Awesome. Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, Ella Shepherd, thank you.
you.
Collective Kids, wherever you are, we love you. I should have added a little bit. Thanks again to our partner, Ginny Beth, who is our neighbor at the Create space. She has also been really gracious in allowing us to use her space for our kids programming, even on weeks where she's not the one leading it. She and Ella have some history together. They've worked together in the past. They've got a good relationship, but that's a huge thing for us to have additional space to do programming with our kids. That's no small thing, and so I wanted us to be grateful again for Ginny Beth and for the resource that we have in Ella. She's going to be really great. I'm glad that she's spending time with our kids, obviously selfishly with with my kids. So we've got the kids practicing. Let's go ahead and talk about how we're going to practice together this week. It's a little bit slower, but Kenny, talk to us about practice.
So weekly practice, of course, starts with the email. And so if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe. You can check the box for the rundown and then pick up which groups you want within the rundown. Then customize your dashboard for communication and practice. Our very first of many Art and Soul events in conjunction with Ginny Beth and the Create Space was a great success this past week. Yeah. We have some great photos from that night to share with you. As you can see, it was a truly intergenerational event. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the next one. So next Sunday, we won't be having our usual 5 o'clock service next Sunday. Instead, we'll be enjoying some natural wonder and fellowship by the lake, courtesy of the generosity of our very own Kayleen Richards.
Thanks, Kayleen.
Yeah.
She's probably some of those, what do we call them, suspicious
anonymous
eyes?
eyes.
Anonymous eyes. Are those your anonymous eyes, Kayleen? Thank you.
She's got some kayaks and paddle boards available, but we encourage you to bring all of the things that you need to enjoy a day on the water with friends. We'll be providing a main course, but you should bring your own beverage of choice and a tasty side or dessert to share. As far as logistics, the fun begins at 2 in the afternoon and goes until 7. Because we'll be conscientious guests, we're requesting this event remain alcohol-free, and we don't do anything to wear out our welcome at Kayleen's place. We're also going to suggest carpooling together. In addition, these details and more, like the address for the event, are on Facebook. You can also expect an email during the week also.
Awesome. Thanks a ton, Kenny. Appreciate that.
Yeah, so I guess remember the point is to practice, from the rundown to weekly practice and giving. Make your plan on how now to do what you might not want to do later in the week. If you need any help, I'm more than happy to help you right after the service over here at the bar.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks a bunch. So let's practice now. Bill, yeah.
Did I see Work of the People change to 6 p.m. this week, or did I not read that?
We're not having Work of the People this week.
We moved it. Yeah, we did move Work of the People.
Yes. All the events for Work of the People are on Facebook currently through August. So everything that's up there is accurate unless there's some change. But right now, everything's accurate.
I want to point something out that should terrify you and also set you free, which is the gospel, right? There are things that are happening that are working for this community that I don't know everything about. That's a first in a little while. So, yes, we're going to trust it. We'll call that the Spirit for now. So let's practice. Everybody take a deep breath. We're going to sit silently together. We're going to sound the singing bowl and ask you to join us just for a few minutes of gently returning to your attention. You might call this centering. You might call it prayer, simply shared silence, silent worship. We know that our minds will wander, and the invitation then is to come back to our breath without judgment, just to notice gently, gently to your breath. Use the drone footage. If you missed it last week, there's this new drone footage that Brandon's getting for 3-Button Media. Use the drone footage as best serves your sense of quietness, solitude, wonder. Survey the inner landscape. Silence allows you to contemplate what you want the ceremony to accomplish for you. Humility, spiritual rebirth, strength for what lies ahead. Relax. It's all right. I'm going to invite Heather to come and join me to facilitate a conversation with you guys for the summer. Not to put too fine a point on it. Man, that 3 minutes, that was deep. I was gone. Thank you. I needed that.
I love the way that the courthouse chimed
Yeah,
right as we came back as well. So that's
It's really nice.
somebody's looking out for us there.
Serendipities of
Yeah.
serendipities. So we're going to talk, Heather and I are going to talk for just a minute about calling and role and sort of the similarities and differences, passion and position. And part of what we want to name is that there's a difference between a calling that is true of you, maybe that's true of a community, that's true of a faith or tradition. There are callings. There's all these different expressions of callings. The calling is different from the role. That's an agreed upon group of tasks for a season in a particular context. Calling and role, not the same thing. Same thing, passion and position. Passion arises. Position is like a title that comes with responsibilities and that kind of thing. Heather is going to be serving as our summer resident, our summer pastoral resident, part of the pastoral team. But I want to start with passion. So Heather, give us maybe a minute and a half on your sense of calling at this point in the journey.
A lot of you know me. A lot of you've heard my story before. I think going back to the community statement, we've all traveled different paths and we've made different journeys. I think for me, as I've grown through Collective, I think the turning point for me was about 2 years ago, when, as some of you know, that I was hospitalized in the ICU for almost a couple of weeks, and had a very life-changing experience through that illness. As I recovered from that, I went through a period of growth and learning, and one of the things I learned was how to ask for help. And Ben and I spent some time, Ben sitting on the end of my bed in my apartment.
Can I pause just because I want to ask for the benefit of people who maybe wonder what spiritual practice feels like. When you said a period where I went through growth, was that fun or easy?
No.
Okay, cool. Okay, I just wanted to, that's how I remembered it. I just wanted to make sure.
Growth in the way that a butterfly larva goes into this shell, and then, I don't know if you know the biology, but when a butterfly larva doesn't just go into a shell, spend a couple of weeks putting makeup on, and then pop out as a butterfly.
Yeah.
The whole butterfly dissolves into a mess of just the constituent chemicals, and then reforms itself and breaks through this pupae into a butterfly, a completely different creature than started off. So it destroys itself, it dies, it has a death, and then it's born again, as the evangelicals like to say.
Wow.
And I think that's a good metaphor for some of the things that I went through during that period of illness. So as I learned to ask for help, I met so many wonderful people, and I found out that people want to help. We just have to ask for it.
Yeah.
And that started off a process of contemplation and rethinking what God meant to me and what the church meant to me and what this community meant to me. And fast forward to now, that led eventually to, after much discussion and prayer and contemplation and meetings and stuff like that, to me now beginning on a track towards ordination. So,
yeah. So what that means for us at this point is that Heather is coming forward as a candidate for ordination in the Methodist Church through Collective. So she'll be a candidate starting here. She's begun that process. She's been approved to serve as a summer resident for Collective through the Methodist Church, who's helping in part to fund her residency to be here to help out this summer. So we wanted to Heather and I thought we should open the floor a little bit just to have some discussion with you guys, because part of her passion in an area that we could call complementary, because it's part of my weakness, or not weakness, but maybe a lack of time, and you can only have so many areas of focus. but Heather's passionate about and experienced with caregiving, and particularly in a church, pastoral care. And we were sort of talking about, as we talked over the last couple of weeks, about what it means for Heather to serve in this role, to serve this community in this way. We sort of realized that we're so many years into this project, and it's changed so many times. We kind of need to know from you guys and from those of you who are online, what does pastoral care mean for this congregation at this point? What would pastoral care feel like to you guys, especially if now it's more than just one person, if we've got a team? What does that look like? How does that feel? Is that weird to you? Are you uncomfortable even using the word pastoral care? Because that's okay too. Bill.
I have no place to refer clients, church-wise, that's healthy. Now I do.
No, you do.
Well, I would, okay. So Bill said I have no place to refer people to churches that's healthy, and now I do. Are we healthy? We could debate that. But yes, glad that you can refer. Yes, absolutely. And that we have resources finally, that there's somebody to talk to, that there are people to have those, like you said, those conversations about when I don't believe in God, or I'm terrified because I don't believe in God, so I think God's going to kill me for it. And all those fun things that you don't know what to do with, the questions, the dark night. And also, some of the greatest joy that I've had in the time that I've gotten to do Collective is actually helping people to understand the areas of their life where it's okay to celebrate, where they've grown up with such an oppressive religious background that some of it is just going, hey, look at these things that are actually working in your life, and those are okay. It's good even to celebrate those, and kind of setting people free to acknowledge the good stuff that they already have going on.
And also, Ben, that life sometimes sucks.
Yeah.
And life can have terrible things happen.
Dissolves into a mess was the butterfly, right? Yeah.
Dissolves into that.
I know that part.
Into that goo.
Yeah.
And that's okay too.
Exactly.
It's not nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to enjoy that, and nobody's going to say everything happens for a reason. I will never. If I ever say that to any of you, please feel free to use physical violence against me.
Yes. It is not justified, but understood.
Right. So what I'll be doing over the next few weeks as I get my footing into this role is we can talk right now. I'm sure that some of you have got like Bill did.
I was listening to Matthew Fox Thursday night, and he said something an American Indian once said. The problem with Western culture is we've lost contact with the soul and cosmos. So I got to ask him the first question on the webinar. I said, how do you put that together in a spiritual direction or a therapy session? With people in the 21st century. He said, well, have them do a ritual and ask them, how are you connecting with the sky? How are you connecting with nature? How are you connecting, with the big picture?
Give them a way to practice that.
Yeah.
Just something like that simple, and it's profound that to have a place where people can go with that.
So simple, so leading in simple but very tangible, visceral practices. I love it. We want to keep things really simple. And we really intentionally, because of the congregation that we have to be so intentional to pull ourselves out of our head.
Right.
To be present in moments, to be present in space, to be present to one another. That doesn't come naturally for some of us, because I like to live here. So we have to ritualize that. We've got to practice it.
And one of the focuses one of the things I'm going to focus on over the next 3 months is pastoral work in the community. So I will be coming out to you as we emerge from this virus and we get more and more comfortable with having other people in our homes. Ben and I are both fully vaccinated, as are some of you.
Yeah.
So those of you that are comfortable with having us visit, or having me visit, I'm going to come out. Invite me to your home and ask me the questions, and I will ask you the question: what do you need from me? What do you need from Collective? What do you need from Ben? What do you need from this community? And as I learn what you need, then I can start working on trying to provide that for you. So
awesome.
That's my goal. I'm not going to give you anything. I'm going to ask what you need.
Yeah, let's not. I mean, that was the thing. Is like literally. I mean, you guys maybe you guys don't have as much traditional church background, or maybe you do. But we were having the conversation like, how do we design pastoral care for this community, and where do you start with like well, let's send them a card on their birthdays, or let's, like the basic church lady kind of stuff. And we were like, you know what, these are adults. Let's ask them, what does it mean for you to be cared for? And some of that's going to be conversations about what are the relationships, or what are these relationships? What relationships are we in? Are these friendship relationships, caregiving relationships, peer relationships? So it's okay to talk about those things, and we can care for each other better if we have those conversations openly.
We can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jay.
For me, there's a real contradiction in what I would experience as pastoral care, because pastoral care would be somebody offering to be helpful or being available to be helpful, not as part of their role. If I were sick in the hospital and you showed up, and I felt you were showing up because you felt it was your role, not because it was spontaneously, I want to see how Jay's doing.
Right.
That would ruin it for me.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
And so how do you, and for you and Heather, how do you separate, the true inner person from, well, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Right. Yeah. The obligation. Yeah, absolutely. And that's, if we tried to pretend that this wasn't full of contradictions, it would not be collective. I mean, that's why we opened with what we said, is because we're trying to shoehorn my life's calling and now Heather's life's calling into a role. And that's not, to your point, you can't do that, because if I'm not able to show up to you simultaneously as someone who had a relationship to you prior to Collective, and as someone who is now in leadership at Collective, and as someone who, as a part of Collective, just decided that I'd like to go see Jay and how he's doing, I have to be able to wear all those hats. And so, yeah, it creates a whole bunch of contradiction. But I think our hope is that by having these conversations more openly, we remove emotional landmines, we remove guesswork, and I think we can provide clearer care, which I think is better care.
We strive to ask good questions.
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk openly about what it is we're doing. Yeah, Joy.
If I may, I'd like to share something. When we went through COVID, on a regular basis, we would do Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And I was going through a very, very difficult time in transitioning at that time.
Yeah,
And I actually broke down and cried on the Zoom call.
I remember.
Well, the next day, Heather shows up at my door.
Yeah.
Okay? And I mean, I was totally floored. But the point is she entered my home and she showed me love and care and concern that I was important enough to do that.
Yeah.
So actually, it was unsolicited by me.
Yeah.
It was just something that she did out of the goodness of her heart to show me that I was loved.
Yeah.
And that to me is pastoral care.
Yep. Well, and let me say this, because it's interesting. Gosh, this says so much about how we're shaped culturally. Even though I get up and I speak against this narrative every week, the first thing in my mind when you said that was, Heather showed up at your door to my shame, because I hadn't showed up yet. And I think more importantly, Heather showed up at your door not in such a way that we need to celebrate that Heather is now in a named role for showing up at your door, but to say that Heather is going to teach us all to show up at the door. That the only way pastoral care works in this congregation is if it's exactly what Jay said, and our hope is just to model that and to lead that and to equip you guys so that if you need someone to show up at your door, you, A, don't have to worry about whether or not it's going to happen, but B, that you don't have to have the conscientious gymnastics of, are they here because they have to be? Are they here because it's their job? Or you can trust that our community's created a way to care for each other. Dan.
I think you have to, one of the things you have to do is you have to define the pastoral care, which is compassion more than anything, and giving somebody the opportunity. You have to define your resources for the things that are not part of pastoral care, because somebody is going to go to you and ask you for things that are not your responsibility.
Yeah.
So you have to make a list of resources so you know what to do. I have trouble with that all the time because I don't keep my list of resources up to date.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, I got to tell you, I was in the hospital about 2 years ago. I had been throwing up solid for 4 hours, and being the stubborn person I was, I finally went to the emergency room, and I was there for another hour where they finally
Neither do pastors, by the way.
Yeah. And it made a difference. It made me aware that there's more going on. There was something to focus on other than my being sick.
Okay.
And my having to take care of myself. It released that, and I said, I've just got to let this go, and it was so helpful. And you never know that because until it happens to you, until that crisis hits, you don't know what your reaction is going to be to the crisis.
Yeah.
And pastoral care is helping you deal with your feelings about that crisis, and that's pastoral care.
Yeah, well, and if nothing else, what a powerful practice to be reminded by the arrival of your community that you're not alone, and that whatever your current pain is not the only story, that you're a part of something bigger. I mean, that's back to, is it Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning? Having that sense of, like, especially for you who's so active and serving in the church, having somebody show up and go, oh yeah, Dan's identity is not my pain in this moment. Dan's identity is sort of caught up in something bigger. And I was going to say, this will lead into this moment that I want for us to have with Heather to sort of begin this time together. I want to come back to what Heather said, because I think part of my frustration in my career has been the struggle to define help. I'm in this because I want to help people. But man, there's a whole lot of like busyness, and sometimes it feels like not much helping. So like, what's the help? What's that what are the dials we're turning? What are the levers that we're pulling? And I think I realized that in true collective fashion, it's just not that simple. I think some of the most significant help that we are giving people is helping them to learn to ask for help. It's not an easy help that we just get to provide. What we provide is space for people to learn that they need help. Yeah. And I don't know why, but there's freedom in that. I think there's for many people, there's salvation in that. To be able to rest in a community that you can genuinely ask for help and trust that you're going to be helped, that's a powerful thing. Part of the reason that I agreed to and pursued this with Heather, and we sort of trust that this was the right thing, is because of the way that it came together, not with us, but over time in a community of people that we trusted. We talked with people that we both know, people that are different. And Jim Kane often talks about the way in communities callings arise, and then if we sort of hold them well, we give opportunities for others to come around and support and affirm them. So I'm going to ask, actually, Heather, if you want to come down and just stand down here on the front floor. I'm going to ask, if they will, Jay and Jim and Caitlin and Michelle. Don't forget to, if it's anybody's coming with a clip, okay. Kenny, if you want to unclip. I invited Bob, but he couldn't make it. And Dan, I was going to invite you if you wanted to come. Ashley, if you want to come on over. And anyone else who, you know what, I'm going to stand up here because that way more people can. You know what, it's probably not a bad idea to mask. I didn't think about that. Oh, and throw it on the ground. If there was a way to make this awkward, I will find it, So you guys, I know lines are weird. Gather safely around Heather. I'm not going to put my mask on. Yeah, around. So I want to invite. We're going to, if anybody else wants to come, it feels strongly that they want to come. We're going to lay hands on Heather. Anyone who feels moved but doesn't want to come or doesn't feel safe, you can do our move, which is to glow them up and throw them up. Send the light, and if you guys are online and want to do it, glow them up and throw them up. We're going to lay hands on Heather, which is a symbol in our tradition of the affirmation of calling, what we've been talking about, in a faith that scandalizes spirit with flesh, with incarnation, with humanity of God, with the body, the sarx, the bone and blood and wrinkles, and even the genders of Christ. We lay hands on Heather as a symbol of our affirmation. This is not a magic spell, more like we have a hand in this now. We take responsibility. Collective has a hand in this calling and in this sending to do good work. So as we lay our hands on Heather, as we send her light, both here and from wherever we are, I want to invite you to speak these affirmations with me, kind of slowly. They're up on the screen. Feel free to join in. Heather, we love you. Heather, we affirm this calling in this season. We affirm your candidacy in pursuing ordination. We affirm your calling and role in serving as our pastoral intern. We listen with you to discern the call that calls still. We surround you with a community of support. We seek and offer forgiveness now for the many ways we will let one another down while trying to love one another well. Community with you is worth the risk. Heather, we hold you in the light of our love and affirmation, the light of the support of this community, and the light of your own calling to guide you forward. Amen. Heather, welcome to this role. Thank you for sharing your passion. I think the only way to end it is to sing it out, right? Lay it on us.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. In my neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
I'm excited, Heather. I'm really excited. This is going to be awesome. How do you follow a sacred moment like that? I don't know that we've had one like that in this congregation. Thank you guys. That was. I mean, I know we've had tons like that, but I don't think organized in that particular way. How do you follow a sacred moment like that? I'm going to be on vacation starting about 22 minutes. So get with Heather this week if you guys have any particular pastoral care needs. Kenny with logistics. No. That was the juice. I mean, that was the service. That's what we came for. Let me meditate on a text real quick and offer some reflections on wonder, and then we're going to take the Eucharist and embolden ourselves again to step into the world for some goodness and mercy. Jess, would you read for us from Ephesians chapter 3? That would be great.
For this reason, I kneel before the Father, from whom every family in heaven and on earth derives its name. I pray that out of these glorious riches he may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being, so that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power, together with all the Lord's holy people, to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God.
Awesome. Thank you, Jess. Appreciate it. So I just want to kind of, I haven't done this in a long time, but I was sort of trying to use this text to craft another sermon. And the more that I sat with the text, I was like, you know what, I just really like this text. So for this reason is the way that it opens. For what reason? Let me summarize. Paul is writing, supposedly under the name Paul, whoever wrote this, is writing to the Ephesians. And they're really ecstatic about this good news that whatever the gospel is and whatever the Christ thing is not just for Jews, but it's for Gentiles, which means it's for everybody else. So that God is with us, but that the us is not just like us, it's all of us. So we've been talking about this move from me to we and then we to everybody. So this is sort of exploding their sense of tribalism and saying God is not just for this group, but everybody. And particularly that people can, because of that, they don't need the Hebrew sacrificial system, people can approach God directly, that there's no boundary needed, or there's no boundary in the way that there's no priest needed. And by the way, doing that good work on the local officials through faith, winning affordable housing, I wore my collar to the mayor's round table the other day, and I got called father a handful of times. And I decided I don't like that. So I'm not sure what I need to do, but it was creepy. My cousin is also a world-famous Catholic priest, but it's still weird to me. So no priest needed. We can go directly to God. And you know, you can hear sort of the objections of the Jewish people, right? Like, even the non-Jews can go to God, even people without circumcision, people that don't eat kosher, like all these boundaries that they have, like even everybody can go. Everybody. And so the way we say this now in the Judeo-Christian tradition, we say the message of Jesus is not for Christianity, but for humanity. We're saying that those same boundaries that we've tried to put back in place don't exist, that it's for everybody. So he says, for this reason I kneel. And by the way, I think this is another, for us again, an invitation to a posture of wonder. What does kneeling say besides, ouch, where's the cartilage in my knees anymore? Kneeling says, I'm not in charge, and it's wonderful, right? Or, I mean, there's a kind of praying that gets on its knees and says, I'm not in charge, and it's terrifying. That's another kind of prayer. I don't recommend it. We're advocating the kind of prayer that says, I'm not in charge, and it's wonderful. For this reason, I kneel before the Father. This Greek word is parent, divine parent, from whom every family in heaven and on earth derives its name. From whom so the divine parent from whom every family in heaven and on earth derives its name. Who then, who is not in God's family? According to this text, who is not in God's family? Which is like probably where we should leave it. But then I have additional questions. Like, are the families in heaven aliens? Or are the families in heaven like, where did grandma go? Or I want to know like the composition of the families in heaven. Either way though, whoever they are, they're in God's family. Because everyone is in God's family. I pray that out of these glorious riches. And again, if you read this fast, you miss what's being said. God's glorious riches are the families of the earth. Out of these glorious riches, the families of the earth. The families of the earth. God may strengthen you with power through his Spirit in your inner being. So we're very familiar with particularly right now, two kinds of power. Power over, which is people in power, and then power under, which is the people who are being oppressed by the people who have power over. But then there's power within. There's power within, which is sort of a different thing. This feels a little bit more like the force is with me and I am with the force. This is kind of that sort of deal. So recap, the families of the earth will strengthen us with the power of the Spirit in our inner being. And we know that the families of the earth do be testing us and blessing us, right? That's been my experience with all of the families of the earth I've ever dealt with. I'm getting nods, yes. If you are dealing with people, they are a combination of testing you and blessing you all the time. And somehow, through the human relationship of testing and blessing, we're strengthened in our inner being. So, okay, I'll buy that for now. Put a pin in it. Let's proceed. So that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith. And we immediately go, because we're trained in the West, we go, faith in what? No. It's not faith in something. Faith that that what was just said will come true. Faith that you will be given strength in your inner being by being tested and blessed by the families of the earth. That's how it works. That's how spirituality works. That's how everything we've been talking about ultimately comes to pass. And we go, wait a minute, but not through church services, not through Bible studies, not through having the right beliefs, not through sending the right money to the right people, not through spirit howling or Holy Ghost barking, not even that, right? Flag waving, none of it. Through the riches of the families of the earth. It's through being in relationship with people. He says, and I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, may have power together with all the Lord's holy people. We've established love as the foundation. And I really like this. I like this imagery of being rooted. The idea of growing deeper still. I kept reading this, and the thing that kept coming to mind was love isn't even done becoming love yet. You know, that we are still participating in the fullness of love. It hasn't found the end of its expression yet because we haven't completed it yet. That the roots of love are growing deeper, that it's not done growing, it's not done becoming. And I pray that you, being rooted and established in love, have power together with all the Lord's holy people. Let that simmer. So on top of love, together with all of God's holy people, which we just said is the families of the whole earth, there's a lot happening. And this is what alarmed me when I read this the first time. So you've got love, but then here's in the text where I sort of paused, because you've got a bunch of love, and we're saying everything's rooted and established in love, and we've got, right, it all feels good. We're ready to like wrap it up and go have dinner. But it also says now you've got power in a group of people. And I immediately went, uh-oh. Wait, what? Why? Right? Why not just all this good stuff and everybody loves everybody? Why do we have to evolve again to having power in a group of people? What does this group of people have the power to do? And the reason I got scared is because of the stories that I've heard. The power to conform others to our imagination of them, to force others into our views and our ideas and our perspectives and our theologies and our truths, to colonize others, to subjugate others, to hate and terrorize others, justifiably abuse atrocities, or rape the world and claim it in the name of God. Those are the kinds of power that we fear when people come together with power. That's not exactly the kind of power we're talking about. It's a different kind of power. He says, then you as a group of people will have the power to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ. So thank God it's not power to do any of those other horrible things. It's the power to grasp, and very importantly though, it's the power to grasp together. It's the power to grasp together. And I think that there's this unspoken magic, this sort of unstated mysticism. Hey, Kieran. They're doing what they do, which is full of wonder. We're not in control, and it's wonderful, right? Of course. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, pray for Dave. The point is that they're seeing, the author at least of this letter thinks that we have a unique capacity as a group of people to grasp something. Hey, Sam Joseph. That we can grasp it, something about the love of Christ together, that we can't grasp on our own. And I'm not going to pretend that I can translate this well, right, through thousands of years in multiple languages. I don't know exactly what the specific definition of the word grasp is, but I agree with him, without needing to know that specific word, that we have the ability to grasp the love of God together in a way that we don't on our own. That makes me so happy. I didn't realize Kieran had jumped up on the couch. So whatever the word is, he's saying we have that ability to do that together. To grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ. Hey guys, chill for maybe 2 more. Let me see, I can skip most of this stuff. Let me see, how many more texts do we have here? Yeah, can you give me like 3 more minutes? Huck, do you want to come sit up here? You sure? It's either going to be up here or else you have to stop playing. All right, Mary, can you throw up to grasp how wide and long and high and deep is the love of Christ? So the thing that I thought of, which is kind of hokey, is that this is sort of speaking of a new dimension, right? We're familiar with length and width and height, these sort of 3 dimensions, but he adds the dimension of depth. And I sort of think of that as this inner reality, this God space, and the idea that there is an inner way that's being made in each of our lives that also sort of matches and corresponds with and complements what's going on in our exterior life, that there's something going on inside. And he says, and to know this love that surpasses knowledge, that you may be filled to the measure of all the fullness of God. And here we are back at wonder. To know this love that surpasses knowledge. And I'm going to use the same text in 2 weeks. But I love that he says to know a love that is beyond knowledge. And he uses 2 different words. He's saying, I want you to not know like data, like have the answers, but I want you to know like have a relationship with. I want you to be familiar with the kind of love that is beyond data, that is beyond knowing, that's beyond objectively obtaining. He says, I want you to have a relationship with that kind of love, the kind of love that you don't get to control. And this brings us right back to practice. To know this love that surpasses knowledge, this brings us back to practice. What's the path of being filled with this full measure of the love of God in our inner being? How do we get familiar with a love that is beyond self? And it's back to spending time with the families of the earth. I'm sorry, I know you guys were like, God, he's going to teach us a prayer, or we're going to get to light some incense, and we're going to feel. No, it's just dealing with your friggin' families. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's like if you can do that, you might be able to do this. How do we get to a love that's beyond self? We spend time with people who are different than us, right? With people who bless us and test us. In a moment, we're going to come to this table, a table of testing and blessing. This is a symbol for us in our tradition of the materiality of our faith and the humanity of God. That we as Christ and motorcycles, we as Christ, body to be given, we as Christ, blood to be shed. The table of this unconditional belonging and transformative love is set. It's open to us and to all people, and no one will ever be turned away. Come, let's share with one another this meal and these words as you come. Bread for the journey and nourishment for the soul. Sharon prepared the table for us tonight. I'm going to ask her to come, and she's going to stand behind the table. Sharon is a vaccinated, designated representative who prepared the Eucharist. And so tonight, as things begin to open a little and we breathe a little more easily, if you would like for Sharon to place the bread in your hand, if you're cool with that, we would love to eliminate the use of single-use plastic cups as quickly as possible. So if you're cool with that, hand those to Sharon. We're still going to use the cups for the grape juice for now. Sharon, thanks for coming and doing that. So let's come to the table. Bread for the journey, nourishment for the soul.
Wish upon you peace, I wish upon you grace, I wish for less of what you want and more of what you need. I wish upon you an old life with a heart that stays young. Most of all, I wish upon you love. I wish upon you truth when all you feel is doubt. I hope you know that an open mind still knows when to shut things out. I wish upon you a brave heart that will always rise above. But most of all, I wish upon you love. 'Cause as the sun sets, well, the moon begins to rise. So even in the darkness, you'll find the light. You'll find the light. You'll find the light. You'll find the light. Yes, even in the darkness, you'll find the light. I wish upon you an easy life. I wish upon you hard times. I hope you know that both joy and pain each need their moment to shine. I wish you ears that are quick to listen and slow to use that tongue. But most of all, I wish upon you love. 'Cause as the sun sets, well, the moon begins to rise. So even in the darkness, you'll find the light. You'll find the light. You'll find the light. You'll find the light. Yes, even in the darkness, you'll find the light.
Thanks to Sharon. If you guys are interested in helping out with preparing the Eucharist or distributing or anything like that, you can talk to Dave. He's helping to organize that. You can talk to Heather. She's helping Dave to help organize that. We got people helping people. This is fantastic. All right. Kenny, take it away.
Okay, so thanks so much for joining us in person and online. Thanks again for making financial support a part of your practice at collectivegives.com. And make your plan to stay connected at wearecollectivechurch.com. You can update your preferences and customize your engagement through the website. For benediction this evening, we've got When I Am Among the Trees by Mary Oliver. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness, I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches. And they call again, "It's simple," they say, and you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine.
To go easy, to be filled with light, and to shine. You guys got homework this week. I don't know how you're going to fit it in. Let's bring our hands together as a symbol of our intention. You can brighten them up a little if you want to. First, to our forehead for clarity of thought, to our lips for clarity of speech. to our hearts for clarity of action, so that in all that we say and do, love and the joy of those daggone children would be our first thought, our first word, and our first deed. Grace and peace. Have a great week. Amen. All right.